What's up, closing entrepreneurs? Bryson Jones coming at you here. It is Saturday. It is December 30th. And again, I wasn't able to come and bring you a video yesterday because I am traveling. Obviously, these aren't my normal conditions. And as I told you, I'm also setting up a new office, so you'll see me in some new conditions next time as well. But nonetheless, I wanted to come to you today and talk to you about something that I've been reflecting on as it's the end of the year and going into the new year, and something that has been an ongoing, I guess, theme for me in trying to help and mentor others that tends to become a big roadblock. And it's a very simple concept, and it's one word. That word is sacrifice. And people always tell me you should always listen to your dad. You should listen to your dad, whatever. The one thing that I can definitely remember my dad repeating over and over and over again: sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. If you want things in life, you have to sacrifice for them. And so, the way that I look at things is time is money. Time is the only thing that we can't get back. I've said this over and over again. It's the most valuable commodity that we have in life. And so I focus intensely on how I spend my time. And therefore it by proxy makes me break my time and all my expenditures down into energy. And where am I spending my energy? And so the best way that I know to remember things, to remember the meaning behind things, to remember really what it's all about is through analogies. If it can't be explained or if it isn't easily understood by the word itself, an analogy will really anchor it for me. So I've created an analogy for the word sacrifice. Um, I've thought about it for some time, and I think that this is something that will definitely stick with me, obviously, because I created it, and that will tie directly into the analogy, and we'll talk about that as well. So the analogy that I came up with is seeing a clear responsibility in focusing intensely on creative efforts. Again, seeing a clear responsibility in focusing intensely on creative efforts. Now, if we break that down, seeing a clear responsibility, that's the first part. Um, if you are in a position where you don't feel a sense of duty or a sense of responsibility to anyone, anything, or to accomplishment, to yourself, then that's the first problem. We got to stop there. If that's not there, you're not going to probably, number one, have much to sacrifice. Number two, you're not going to be willing to sacrifice anything that you do have or anything that you would rather do in order to progress in whatever it is that you're doing. So you got to see a clear responsibility. You got to have that sense of duty. I'm a strong believer in that. And I have a grandfather who has competed in Ironman competitions, and just talked to him about his most recent experience doing that. And he said there's a few times where it was tough to keep going, but at the end of the day, when after I got all over those negative mental thoughts, it was my sense of duty to not let the people that I love down, and the people that have supported me down, and that are waiting for me at the finish line. And so it's always that sense of duty that keeps you going. I'm a strong believer when nothing else will. You call it what you want to call it, whether it's to your children, to yourself, to your family, to your higher power, to a group, whatever it may be. If you have a sense of duty to somebody else, then there's some responsibility, and if you can see that clearly, then if you need to channel energy differently, aka sacrifice, into more creative efforts or productive efforts. We'll talk about creative and the meaning behind that word in this analogy in a minute. So obviously, seeing a clear responsibility in focusing intensely. I use the word intensely because it has to be something that really consumes your mind. When there's a duty around it, it has to be something that, again, as Tony Robbins would say, is not a want, or even a need, but a must. And so if it's a must, then it's something that's going to be focused on intensely. It's something that you're going to work at intensely, because that's just how we are programmed. If you can really reframe and get into that sense, of having something not be an option, you know, not obtaining this, not doing this, not accomplishing this, not finishing this, whatever it may be, that's just not an option. This is a must for me. Then you're going to be much more intense in the effort that you put into it. So, in focusing intensely, again, to start from the beginning, seeing a clear responsibility in focusing intensely on creative efforts. Creative efforts. So, whatever you do for work, whatever you do as an entrepreneur, whatever you do in life, hopefully you're contributing. And if you're contributing, then whatever you do to contribute as an end result is a creative effort. Whether you're the person that's creating something from scratch, an inventor creating an actual product, somebody creating, some education, something like this, or somebody who's painting a picture in the traditional sense of creative, or maybe making music, to the person who's selling cars and the person who's, on the telephone selling pens. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, and whatever you're spending your time, your effort, and your energy on, if it is producing a result and adding value to somebody else's life, that's a creative effort. And so if you are wanting to increase your end result, the end result for most of us is a paycheck. If you want to increase your paycheck, then you have to focus intensely, or increase, or make more effective, or refine, or whatever it may be. Either way, you have to focus intensely on your creative efforts. And that's where the sacrifice comes in. Because if you're already spending 10 hours a week at work, and you've been, steadily making $1,000 a week for the last 5 years doing that, then obviously continuing to spend 10 hours a week at work isn't going to help you increase your income. So you have to focus intensely on your creative efforts and what you can do to make that 10 hours more effective, or how you can spend more time if that's what you have to do, or that's what you feel like you want or need to do. Hopefully that's not the case, and in today's day and age, that definitely shouldn't be the case. If you're working more than 10 hours a day, come talk to me a little bit deeper, and I'll let you know some better ways to do things. But nonetheless, it becomes about taking time and energy away from something that is not feeding into your creative efforts, and focusing intensely on feeding into your creative efforts. So whether that's spending time with your friends, watching TV, playing video games, whatever you have to replace that with, whether it's reading, meditating, focusing on yourself, learning about other people, whatever it may be, if that's what you have to do in order to get ahead, which I promise is what you have to do, and really the only thing that you have to do to get ahead of the guy who's right behind you spending 8 hours a day at work, then that's what you have to do. So my question to anybody watching this, anybody out there, any dreamers, any aspirers, is, what do you want to accomplish in 2018? Why do you want to accomplish it? And what are you willing to sacrifice in order to get it? And the obvious answer that I guess you would tell it in a job interview is, I'm willing to sacrifice anything. I'll do whatever it takes. I challenge you to really look in the mirror and ask yourself the question, what am I willing to sacrifice to get to where I want to be? What do I want to accomplish in the next 365 days? Well, why is that important to me? Why do I see a clear responsibility in doing that? And what am I willing to sacrifice and focus my creative energy or efforts doing in order to achieve that goal? If you can get defining those three things, then you can start to break all of that down, all 365 days down. And you don't have to do it all at once. But I promise you, it will help you to start to systematically think about where you're spending your time, your effort, your energy, whether who it's around, what you're doing, etc., and channel it from things that are getting you away from your goals to things that will bring you closer to your goals. So that's my self-reflection. I'll call this a sacrificial Saturday, if you will. Not sacrificing anything, but that's what we're talking about. So, listen, I am sacrificing some time on my vacation with my family, but that's okay because what's a little bit of time to try to provide some value to help you guys get ahead and be able to take a vacation whenever you would like to, just like myself. So, you guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for all of your engagement. Follow my blog at sellerbesoldblog.wordpress.com. Follow my Facebook fan page at Hustlers Not Anonymous. Follow me on Instagram at No Limit Business. Follow me on Twitter, Tryson Todd Jones. Follow me, follow me, follow me. Please share this, like this, comment, engage if it resonates with you at all and if it provided any value to you. And I will see you guys again here very soon, again in a brand new, awesome office that will only get better and better as the weeks progress. So, thanks for tuning in, you guys. I appreciate everything that you guys have done to inspire me, to help me, to drive me, to push me, to show me that what I'm doing is providing some value to you. It keeps me going. So please continue to provide feedback and show me that this is something that engages you as we go along because that's what keeps me doing it. And I appreciate all of your support. I hope that this year is the best year of your life as I plan it to be mine. And we will talk to you. See you. And